Hello and welcome to the 4Corners podcast. I'm Brad, joined as always by Matt and Shad. Gentlemen, how are you doing on this almost tropical day?
My joints hurt so bad.
I'm actually not doing bad on that front. I'm shocked.
I I don't have achy joints, but I am just over the ice. It's still in the Washington D.C. area. It's still not really. It's melted minuscule, like because it hasn't been warm enough. This last day or two, it's actually been above freezing. So I don't know. The roads are still horrible. Like I have never seen it. Like they really just plowed like major streets. They plowed like one lane basically, and just threw up their hands like you're on your own, folks. Like it'll melt eventually. And it's like I've gotten in like almost five different wrecks because it just suddenly the it's a two-lane road. It's maybe part of it's like plowed, then it just turns into like one lane because there's just a mountain of ice,
Do you
and every
guys
car is like veering off into the other lane now.
do you guys just not get snow a lot because like here it took them 2 days, but everything was like pretty clear after that unless it was like a residential road.
We get enough snow that it's like this should not happen. Maybe not the volume of snow that we got, but still, like it. They literally
So
just threw up their hands. Like
we
that's
had we had this happen as well. But the thing that got us was the fact that the standard operating procedure for this part of Kentucky is that they run trucks that have salt brine and they put those out and they pre-treat and all that sort of stuff. But that doesn't work if it's below 20 degrees.
Yeah.
And there were plenty of days where it was this many. And, you know, it just didn't work. And so when they were plowing, it made big piles on the side as well because, they're trying to make some kind of pathway for people. But between it being too cold for the salt to work and then these piles where they're trying to do something to help people, combined with it all being ice, it just, it was not effective.
Yeah. So today we decided we're going to talk about our favorite wrestling botches. This is a topic where Shad is really going to shine, and I did find it. So we are going to be doing Masanobu Fuchi and Toshiki Kawada versus um, Toshiaki Iizuka and Yuji Nagata, which is
is
I
it
hadn't
Takashi?
Takashi. I was trying to remember. I made a mental note of it, and like when I don't have it in front of me, it's hard. Yeah, Takashi. But
Mm.
so, um, I had seen this like probably like closer to when it happened, and I had good memories of it. But this is actually a lot better than I remembered it being, and it would actually. We should actually. That might be a project to do in the future to find like the greatest tag team match of all time because this would, in my opinion, be wouldn't be the greatest tag match of all time, but it would be a contender and like a heavy contender for like the best tag I've ever seen.
It's one of my favorite tag matches of all time. It's one of my favorite matches of all time. Um, and when we're gonna go with the in-depth discussion of it, I need to give a little background about it to why I think it's to me it resonates a lot. But
It's a very
yeah, it's a great match.
it's like well, and I realized when I was watching it, I'm like, this is a very historically like relevant match because in a lot of ways, like this match is like the death of the Japan of like the 90s wrestling wise. Like this is like
Hmm.
all Japan is never the same again. New
No,
promotions kind of take their place. There's permanent alignment. You know, New Japan like changes like greatly after this. So it's like one of those weird. It's kind of like how this is really going to be a really weird comparison. If you dive deeply into like World War One and how that worked, it's kind of like the modern world coming in and like violently destroying like the old world. Like you start off and the French are going off to war in like Napoleonic like gear and stuff, and then that quickly changes because it doesn't work. So it's kind of like that, and like it it pretty much just destroys Japan of the 90s. as far as wrestling goes. So why don't we start off with that? Because I think it's fun to start off with the match and then
Okay.
go into the topic. So
I will be
Hold on.
honest with you. I am not as bought in on this match as you guys are. Not that I think it's bad or anything, but as far as great tag wrestling goes, like off the top of my head, early contender for something like that's going to be very different. It's I don't know, just off the top of my head, I'm like FTR Briscoe's dog collar might be one of the first ones I bring up, but
it would be that
I'm not.
the Canadian Chris's versus Stone Cold and Triple H should be like high on that
That was fire,
list
yeah.
for me. That's
But
actually
I'm sorry, I'm
Well, that there's some recency bias there, Shag, but it's also I think I will say, and I do want to go walk through the reason why because I want to walk through the history of why this match even happened.
go for it.
But why it resonates to me is, and I think that I know the answer to this because we talked about it before. But have you seen a lot of like '90s All Japan?
No,
Okay, and Brad, I know you've seen some.
yeah.
Maybe even more than me, probably more than me. But if you've seen '90s All Japan, like creatively, in terms of the actual quality of the matches, '90s All Japan may be like at the top.
Yeah, or close to
There's
it.
wrestling that I might ultimately prefer more. Like if it's the hypothetical, like you're stuck in a desert island, you can watch like one wrestling promotion. You have all of their content, but that's it. Just one. You don't get to pick like, well, I want like in the modern day, you just like you don't get WWE and AEW and TNA. You don't get all those things. You get one. Like I would probably pick like probably Jim Crockett Promotions, and then you could debate is like, does that count? Does WCW count? Like maybe, maybe not, like whatever. But I mean,
yeah,
I love Jim Crockett Promotions.
That's an interesting. I would say WCW kind of does because it's a spiritual successor. We've done that question before, but like I think if you were to like if I was to do that and you said okay, what promotions do you want? I would take probably Memphis first.
That's not a bad answer at all.
Because there's a large volume of it. It changed a lot. Um I would probably take honestly like CMLL would be high on that. There's so much though because it'd be like my list would that have to it would probably be Memphis would probably be my answer, but then like um Mid South UWF would be like high on that list because you have all that house show stuff.
Yeah.
CMLL, Stardom, All Japan Women, All Japan. I mean New Japan. There's so many answers.
CMLL would almost be a cheat, because they've been around for like decades. Same thing you could say, I guess, with New Japan. Even All Japan has been around for decades, but All Japan in the '90s was really like fantastic. It's definitely in the conversation as some of the best wrestling of all time.
And
Some
it's
people
lost.
you're not into it because
It's
go
lost.
ahead.
Like there was it's kind of gotten lost in the haze of modern era and like so many fans kind of being ignorant of historical wrestling, but there was like an aura like to All
Mhm,
Japan like when even like as late as like the late aughts. Like if you watched
mhm.
All Japan like they're 93 and 93 I think in particular, but like 94 I think is really strong on there. You're talking about like the ascension of, Mizawa especially to the
Yeah,
top.
yeah. But walking through the backstory, like '90s All Japan, you had the '80s and All Japan was like it's still doing great. There was actually a lot of All Japan talent. Some of it being American talent, even Gaijins. You had Stan Hansen, Terry Funks, the Funks, and Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody all had like legendary runs in the '80s to like early '90s. Stan
Yeah,
Hansen was still throughout
Terry
the '90s.
Terry Gordy and Dr.
Terry
Death.
Gordy, Steve Williams, yeah, they had great stuff. But and y'all probably All Japan's arguably biggest homegrown star early on in the '80s into the early '90s was Jumbo Tsuruta. But
Hmm.
then Jumbo started winding his career down, and he put over Misawa,
Yeah.
Mitsuhara Misawa. And of course, in the '90s, it was very much dominated in the '90s with the four pillars of heaven, which was Misawa, Toshiaki Kawada, who's in this match, Akira Taue, and Kenta Kobashi. And they would have
Yeah.
matches with each other. against each
Then
other.
there's the Holy Demon Army, which is also an awesome tag
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, just tremendous stuff. Very hard-hitting action. That's like the whole like King's Road thing. A lot of head drops. So sometimes their style isn't for everyone, but it was very popular. Great matches, very very successful. And All Japan was run by Shohei Giant Baba and his wife, and that's relevant in a second because
Yeah.
in late 90s, as it progressed, like most everything, you have a very hot peak period with All Japan, and then they start to dwindle down. Like, not
97
as many
they
people start
start
going to the shows.
97 they kind
Yeah,
of start petering off just because
kind of petering off.
they'd been hot for I don't know 5 years that, but I mean New Japan was also kind of New Japan had also started tapering off at the same time too.
They did. It started dwindling down for the two big promotions, and I mean look, wrestling is cyclical. We've watched wrestling long enough for like decades at this point to know that it ebbs and flows. Like it goes through periods.
Though we are in a
so they were gone.
We are in a weird period though, because I was thinking about that the other day where it's usually everyone kind of flows down and you might have some outlier promotions that are hot, but like currently WWE is like going ice cold and everyone else is like ascending around them other than New Japan. Like AEW is going up, like CMLL is just absolutely on fire, but then you have like all these Japanese promotions, like Stardom is hot, you know, All Japan and Noah are doing really well. Like it's an interesting. I don't think I've seen that happen before, where WWE goes cold and it doesn't drag everyone else down with them.
I was gonna say, it might be that WWE going cold is induced by something different, because I mean, part of what's having it go cold, other than it being creatively stale, is the fact that they're pricing out their audience, and that leads me to believe that people are just checking out entirely.
They're about
and they're like, well,
they're also at about the right length of time where like it starts getting hard to stay hot. But like they're having
on the back end of their hot period, and
well, I think
they're dropping off.
I think they're cold already because they're having trouble selling those last 5,000 tickets of Mania. Like they announced Reigns and Punk on Monday and it moved like no tickets.
And that's disturbing, because that to me is like, that's your hot program, because everything else is boring, and people, you're running Cody, Drew McIntyre.
Now
that's what it looks like it's going to be
Matt,
again for like
the
300th time in the last year.
Cody Raheem Rhodes.
Oh God, the dumbest thing I've heard.
I know. Well, but the thing is, they essentially did Punk and Reigns last year, though.
Then get somebody new.
Well, they jobbed the new guy.
No, like
they jobbed the new guy, and he has a hernia now because of the announce table thing.
They jobbed the new guy and killed him.
Actually, I think the injury for Braun might, in the long run, be good for him because it gets him away from the vanilla job squad that were dragging him down.
I don't know. That could still continue by the time he gets back, especially if he's only gone like a couple months.
Hernia's it depends. I think it depends on how bad, because hernia can be. Because I think the problem is with hernia, you have to take so long off, or you could like
I mean, he's having surgery. It's not even laparoscopic. If it was just laparoscopic, I think you're like not really supposed to do anything for like a couple months. But if he's having surgery, he could be out for longer.
There's somebody in my family who just had hernia surgeries, and that was beginning of January. Was it? No. Beginning of end of November. We're in February now, and she's not getting anywhere. So it's weird, and apparently my camera's being dumb.
I have to unplug mine and plug it back in because it gets real dumb.
Yeah. But in any event, hernia hernia recovery is no joke because you're stitching the abdominal wall back together, and then you've got to give enough time for that connective tissue to build back up, and it's a
Yeah. He's young though,
whole
so
big thing.
he's young, so I imagine
Yep.
he would bounce back on the quicker end of that too, though. So
He'll
Yeah.
he'll bounce back quicker, but would he have done that if he was in a different program? I
But-
mean, I know that's a weird question, but was him being in a stupid program leading to the big dumb like, oh, flip the gigantic heavy table now?
I mean, he's a
Uh,
Steiner, so they don't necessarily
it's
do
the
the
most-
wisest of things.
Yeah, it's the most Snyder injury like he could get. He just got injured. He hurt his little tummy lifting something very heavy.
Yeah.
Like,
It made me think of it involved a Steiner, but it wasn't a
his
Steiner.
little tummy, Matt, you monster.
It reminds me of it wasn't a Steiner doing something dumb, but it was a DDP story where he was working with Scott and he was supposed to blade and he lost it. And so they're doing something and he's like, Scott, I lost the blade. And it's just the look, just the way like you imagine. He's like, then Scott's like, oh no. Because I remember the story because it was a big deal at the time. But then like, he's like, well, shit, what are we going to do? He's like, well, you got to bust me with the hard way with the belt.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
God. Like, we got to do this hard way. Oh. So.
But I think it might potentially be beneficial if it gets him away from Bronson Reed and Austin Theory.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
This is pure fantasy wish fulfillment booking, but this is a perfect opportunity when he comes back. You rebrand him a little bit and you dump the stupid name and say, I pretended to be somebody else for years. That's not who I am. I am Bronson Steiner.
You know what I would do?
Just turn him loose.
I would just do the
Rocket
Taz.
Pack.
I would just do the Taz and ECW thing when he comes back, and just have him like murder the shit out of like everyone.
He'd get over. He'd go over. I don't think they're gonna do that though, because the unit, the faction, like beat up Seth. So I imagine when Seth comes back, he's gonna be a babyface, and take all of them on. Like I don't think they're gonna just like, well, we'll just re-debut Braun and drop all that. I don't think they're gonna do that.
I also think
Triple H isn't created enough to not do that.
Well, but see, I don't like that program because working with Seth, like, I shit on Punk all the time, but I think if they would have actually stuck with him and Punk and had him beat Punk for the title, I think he would have gotten something out of that. They had devalued Punk a bit, yeah, Braun, but working with Seth, he gets nothing from working with Seth because no one gives a shit about Seth.
He has to win.
Yeah,
to get something out of it.
Which I'd question, but if he wins, like, no one, like, people will cheer for Seth and stuff, but they don't give a shit. Like, you don't get anything from beating him. Like, there's no benefit to it.
It's so many people have beaten Seth Rollins that that bloom is kind of off the rose.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
But yeah, so this is a kind of
Hold on. I'm not done.
Okay.
Sorry, there's like a lot of backstory, but All Japan was very hot. It started to dwindle down. Part of that was because Giant Baba was kind of like a traditionalist. There's one thing I get that with bookers, it's like, well, if it's working, like, he's not broke, don't fix it.
I think he was getting sick at this point too.
Well, he was getting sick, but partly is like he didn't really change up the booking, and there are people who are actually on top, like Misawa. He wanted to start pushing younger guys like Jun Akiyama, some of the other guys that
was Amori on the roster at the time. I think they wanted to push
Amori was on it. Takayama, I think, was in it too. Like,
he
wanted to start pushing
Ogawa,
some younger guys.
Some of the guys that got pushed in early, Noah, were
yes, they were like Misawa proteges or guys that Misawa really thought that All Japan should be pushing. But in late '98, well, maybe earlier than that, but I mean, certainly by '98, Baba got sick. Turns out he has cancer. I think it was like colon cancer.
It was hard to tell because I always get him and what Saruta died of confused.
I think he had kidney cancer, but then he like tried to get, or he had maybe liver cancer. He had something, and then he had surgery, and he died at a complication of the surgery.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had cirrhosis or not, but I mean he had surgery and like he died from that. But he was starting to get down in poor health too. But Saruta was actually president of All Japan at the time. His in ring was basically done, but he was in the office. And Baba was the one who was still running things. He was the booker. He was the promoter. He owned it with his wife, and his wife was not very popular, except to maybe Johnny Ace.
Yeah, it's a
But
young blonde
she
American.
was, yeah. Baba was known to be like, he was one of the boys, and he was very good to the wrestlers, including the foreign talent. He treated them very well. And
Well, he was a very
people loved
honorable
him.
man. Like, if you hear Stan Hansen talk about him, you get a good.
Yeah. People were loyal to him. Like Stan Hansen was loyal to him.
Like the
Funk.
whole AWA belt thing,
Mm.
was because they wanted him to job before he's going to go to Japan, which wasn't agreed upon previously. So he called up Baba because that's who he was loyal to. And then like he said, because they asked about him running over the belt, he's like, well, it just kind of fell out of my truck. It was an accident that I ran over it repeatedly.
Mm.
Which is so damn funny.
I know.
Yeah. Bob was sick. He was very liked. His wife was not, because his wife. You have to hear the stories, but his wife was kind of like, she was also like she was more ruthless, and she was the enforcer. So
Well, she's a very,
if Baba kind of,
due to late, this is way later, but like she's a very vindictive person. Like they don't have the, like All Japan currently, I don't know if it's changed. I don't think it has. They don't have the original Triple Crown anymore because she took it away. Because she's just a vindictive person.
She was vindictive. She was spiteful, and she was the bad cop to Baba's good cop. But Baba gets sick. No one really knew. I guess a lot of the workers didn't know that how sick he was, because he had his last match, and then basically,
he was
like
dead.
after the last match, like a couple weeks later, he was already back in the hospital. He never got out. He died shortly thereafter of cancer. And it was like a shock because people weren't aware that how bad he was. But
if you go back,
when he died,
back, his color is pretty bad for those like last bits. Like you can tell something's wrong with them.
But obviously it threw the promotion into some turmoil. But his wife still owned it, so it's still in the family. And but she then there was like a weird kind of power play, and that transpired over like the next year, where she pushed out Jumbo Tsuruta. She pushed out a bunch of people, and the boys didn't really like it. Misawa, who was basically like your champ, and he was like your head guy, your ace, he eventually got put into the position as president, but it turned out really quickly that he was like president in name only, because anytime he tried to make changes, and there was many changes. One was like he wanted to push guys, and she'd be like, no. Yeah. And she'd find fault with anyone. It's like he wanted to push Ogawa. It's like, no, he's too small. Or this person. It's like, no, they're too young. Whoever, like she found fault in them. So he got increasingly frustrated. He tried to change like the contracts to make it more favorable to the wrestlers. Like one of the things which like it makes sense to us. It's like, because it's so common now. One of the things I think he wanted to change was like, look, if some guy goes injured, we should still pay them while they're injured, until they come back. And it's like, no, they're not working. Like we don't need to pay them. So things like that, they butted heads. And then finally what happened is that in about mid 2000, and this had been brewing for a while, Masawa was like making moves behind the scenes.
98. So just to give like a more, so this is probably like going on from like 98, about 2 years. From like mid 98,
the issues, but
and 99 is where it like kind of.
Yeah. Oh, Baba died in January 99, so after that things really picked up steam. But mid 2000, I think like June 2000, Misawa announces like, I'm leaving All Japan. I'm not renewing my contract, and people had not renewed their contract because there was all these issues. Like I said, people were having issues with the contracts. They didn't like Mrs. Baba. And so they were just continuing to work, but they weren't really on a contract. So they could technically they could leave anytime they wanted to, and they did. And freelancers. And in June 2000, out of the 26 people that worked there, 24 of them left. I cannot tell you, Shad, what a bloodletting it was. Imagine you have AEW and then tomorrow, like everyone signed to AEW, like 95% of them
Yeah,
leave,
like,
and you're
Yeah,
left like
that's-
you're left with like 10 people.
let's
maybe.
say
Yeah.
let's say overnight you're left with Adam Page, FTR, and like Edge.
the
Yeah, like and
Ugh.
everyone, and not only that, but when he did it, a lot of the office workers left and joined him,
And the Gaijin
and
too.
he had, and the Gaijin,
Because Vader,
And
Vader,
Vader.
Too Cold Scorpio. I don't think Hanson. No, Hanson didn't leave. Hanson stayed.
He didn't, but he was also retiring, so it's like he
became
didn't
like.
why
really.
leave? Why leave? Because I'm not going to work anymore.
I think
like I can stay with you because I'm literally done.
I think Hanson became like. He became like a PR person. I think.
Williams, I think, did leave, but he also shortly after that, I think, is when he got he got cancer, so his in-ring was pretty much.
Well,
done at that point,
he
too.
was still around for this because this match
He
is
was
in the
still around
Real
a little
World
bit in
Tag
2000.
League, and I believe Fuchi and Kawada lose to Williams and Rotunda in the final.
I don't think this match was actually in the tag league. It was just like a kind of a grudge match type of thing. But 24 out of 26 people left. The only people who were left was Toshiaki Kawada and Masafuchi. Masafuchi stayed because he was old, and he's like, I want to go start another company. And Kawada stayed because he was loyal to Baba. There's a whole lot of other behind the scenes like drama going on because Kawada and Misawa did not like each other. For visual, think like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. Like they did not like each other.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get along. Kawada.
They did not talk their matches over, Shad. Like they had to have an intermediary to to do their matches.
There's rumors that they got in like actual physical fights backstage. I don't know if that ever was really the case, but they didn't like each other. They both were like aces of sorts, but Kawada always felt that Baba pushed Misawa over him, and he has some legitimate gripe to that. Now Misawa was like a star, and he like brought you money, but Kawada had gripes because he beat Misawa for the title, and in that match he broke his arm. So literally a day later he had to give up the title. So he relinquished the title.
Infamous Gonzo bomb?
Yes, I believe that was the match. He had to relinquish the title while he recovered, so he didn't lose the title. He had to give it up. And then they had a tournament which Vader won, and then Vader lost the title to Misawa, and Kawada like just he was like basically on the outs, and it's like he's bitter about that, and bitter about Misawa like getting pushed, and he has some gripes.
To give some cultural context, Shad. So, in the U.S., like, I mean, a legitimate injury might sideline you, but like, there is like a certain grit and determination to working hurt on screen and like having an on-screen injury. But in Japan, that it's changed now, but like back then that was seen as like not honorable, so that's why he
the whole fighting spirit thing and stuff.
Yeah, like working like visibly injured was not seen as like a good thing.
Yeah.
Culturally.
Yeah. Wait, back up. Working visibly injured
was not seen as a good thing. It was seen as dishonorable because like then if your opponent beat you, they beat like a wounded duck kind of a situation. Whereas here you're like, oh, look at that guy. He's a real badass for like working through it. And there it's just like, it's kind of like, what are you doing? Like.
So it makes sense that he relinquishes the title because he broke his arm.
Yeah.
But you're still up against this, like, being on the outs for, when he got Finn Ballard.
Yeah.
Well, you got hurt, put down the title, and then we're done with you.
Because he would have been fine, like, because they defend the title so infrequently, he probably would have been healed by the time the next title defense came around. So
with stuff like that, there's no telling. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So you were left with Kawada and Fuchi as the only, like, actually All Japan workers still there. So you're thinking like this is dire straits because the company, there's nobody. There's two people. Like the company is going to fold, right? They actually, I don't know whose idea it was, but it was a brilliant idea. New Japan was also on the downswing too. So how do you like kind of solve this issue? Whoever made it the decision to do this, brilliant, because basically Kawada and Fuchi show up in New Japan. And it's not really an invasion, but it's kind of an invasion. But they're trying to be like, well, now in the spirit of like collaboration, we're gonna now like, compete in New Japan with you. And you actually had Kawada versus Kensuke Sasaki, who was the champion at the time, in a non-title match. They had a non-title match before this match, before the end of the year. They had it between June and December. I don't know the exact date. I forgot. They had a match, and Kawada beats him. And they do a whole thing where Sasaki is so like dejected at himself because like I'm the champion, I'm the standard bearer of the promotion, and this outsider comes in and he beats me. So he relinquishes the title. He gives up the title, and they have a tournament for it. Kawada's in the tournament. I don't know who I forget who won the title.
Scott Norton, I think,
I
won
don't
it.
know. Was that when Norton won it?
I think. Well, Norton had won it in '98, but I think he did win. I think he did win it in this tournament.
I forget who did it, but I think in the tournament is where Kawada and Nagata kind of like ran afoul of each other, and Kawada basically the at least the storyline, whether it was real or not, the storyline was that he didn't respect Nagata. It's like I've been like champion before. I'm like been the ace of my promotion. You're just like an upstart nobody. And Nagata had been around a while, so it's not really. But
Nagata was like an up. Nagata was like an upper mid Carter, so it would be like it would kind of be like when The Rock ran into like Chris Benoit for the first time in WWE.
Yeah, maybe. Or like modern if Omega is like
Braun Breaker.
Who the
Braun
yeah,
Breaker.
or in
Sami
AEW, it's
Zayn.
like who does Kyle Fletcher think he is? And it's like they start feuding with each other,
Sasaki won the
Okay,
belt back by beating Kawada after he vacated it.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. That was like a tournament final.
Yeah.
I remember I think seeing the match where he beat Sasaki and it was good. But
it was on the 2001
but brief postscript, like
show.
Ironically, you could say that the person who maybe saved All Japan it's a two-edged sword because he went more the sports entertainment direction. But the person who you could say saved All Japan is because shortly after this, Keiji Muto, Great Muta, actually started working with All Japan, won the Triple Crown, and then eventually went full time with them, became their president.
Hashimoto and Kendo Kashin came over with them too.
Yes.
But then Hashimoto died pretty soon after that.
Yeah, he died. There was a lot of bad things that happened in Japan.
And funnily enough, like a decade later, Muta left and formed his own company too, due to similar.
Was that Noah?
Yeah. That was Wrestle One. That was Wrestle One.
Okay.
01 was actually Hashimoto and Masato Tanaka's deal, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's a lot of backstory, but that kind of led to that. And it basically, Kawada and Nagata discovered they didn't like each other.
Yeah.
Right.
And Kawada and Fuchi obviously were, together because they were the last two All Japan guys. So then there's like basically a challenge for a tag team match between Kawada and Fuchi and Nagata and a partner. And he had Takashi. Hold on, what's his name? Takashi Iizuka, who is good in this match. I feel he's the least of this match in terms of the workers.
He's pretty young,
and he almost is like. No, that's the thing. Like he's not, because he'd been around at this point like over a decade, but he comes off almost like you're a young boy, and he has like the black trunks, black shoes. It's almost like he's not. He is a young boy. That's all the backstory. So the backstory is important because going to this match, you have two guys from a promotion that's like dying, but they were creatively like arguably the better promotion and were really hot. But New Japan was always like a really strong promotion under Inoki.
Well, and it needs to be said, New Japan always drew better, even when like All Japan was hot.
It drew better.
New Japan was more
And
commercially successful.
when I first got into this match and started watching them, I saw this match. It wasn't, I didn't see it like in December 2000, but shortly thereafter, 2001, 2002, it was just coming in America right after both ECW and WCW folded. So to me, it really resonated to me because it's like All Japan basically almost dying and changing in every way that it was All Japan. The old All Japan was dead. What happened after that
Yeah, it's
is
never.
much different entity. Yeah. So to me, it like resonated because it's like I kind of imprinted All Japan being like WCW and New Japan being WWE, even though that's not fair because New Japan in no way is anything like what
No.
WWE is now. And I say that in a good way because people would be like, "Oh, WWE is the best." It's like, no, it's not. It never has been. And New Japan, even in its worst times, was probably better than the WWE in some of
99,
WWE's really good periods.
99 and 99 is pretty dire. Also,
Well,
Shad,
it was announced today that it was announced today Yasuda died today, and it's like he was actually maybe one of the worst champions.
yeah,
That was that weird period where he got the belt because for like 2-3 months because he beat a
Inoki
dude in a
was-
legit street in an
yeah.
MMA fight, and Inoki like
was obsessed with MMA.
had a hard on. Yeah, he had a hard on for like MMA guys. So when that guy, and he was like a scrub, he was like maybe like a mid card.
Oh, he's
guy.
terrible.
Yeah,
He's terrible. But so the other thing
yeah.
to go into this, Shad, so Fuchi was like a star back in the day, but he's probably like mid 50s at this point. So he had been teaming a lot with like Baba, and they were doing like undercard six mans, kind of doing like comedy ish stuff. They weren't being seriously pushed, so he'd probably not been pushed seriously for like a decade at this point. And this also coincides with when this feud, this is historical around it. This is also when Muda shaved his head and like reinvented himself and got Wrestler of the Year from the Observer in 2001. So you also have Muda Muda, who would kind of look like he was washed and broken down, like
completely changed his style, completely reinvented everything.
Yeah,
You
And
know,
his look.
came up his look, his finish, all that sort of stuff. I remember that particular thing very well because I heard people talking about it and they're like, well, no, he's changed everything because his knees are shot. And I'm like, okay, cool. What's he doing now? Oh, he's got a new finish. Okay, it's called the Shining Wizard. Okay, yeah, okay, Japanese wrestling name. Okay, what is it? Well, he gets the other guy in a kneeling position and he steps up on their leg and hits him with the knee strike. And I was like, I'm 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 sorry, what? Yeah, he works the leg the whole time, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Until I finally saw I I can't swear to it, but I think he might have had a match with Hase,
yeah, probably.
and to see that Hase was selling well enough that it sold the idea that he works the leg enough that you couldn't stand back up on it to set up for the Shining Wizard. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's kind of a one-note match formula, but I get it, and he's reinvented himself. Okay, you know, I can follow it at that point.
I think as an aside, I think it came out. I read this somewhere recently that I don't know if it was in like Gary Hart's book. I don't know if it was Gary Hart who said that, but essentially, can you hold on one second? I'm trying to tell the story, and my daughter is like creeping into the room for some reason.
Yeah.
It's okay. Understand.
I saw something moving behind you.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter is like creeping in the room for something. I don't know. It came out for somebody. Maybe it was like a Gary Hart's book or something like that. But it basically like in like the 80s even. Before he went to WCW, obviously they had that brief period. I think he was doing like stuff in America on his excursion. And he was doing
like
the
the White
Ninja
Ninja in Dallas or Florida.
But he was with Gary Hart even then too, right?
I think so.
Because I think it was Gary Hart is when.
It must be.
Like allegedly, like he told even back then, so even before he came to WCW in '89, he really like blew up, and people in America like fell in love with him, and he really kind of started developing the star aura. He was doing the moonsault to people, and allegedly even then, like he like went to Gary Hart and was like, "Yeah, man, like my knees are all like fucked up already from doing this moonsault like night after night," and it's like. dude, and then you kept doing it like another 30 years. Like,
His
that's maybe not the
Yeah.
best idea. 30, 35 years.
his
Like,
WCW run is perplexing in a lot of ways because I mean it was super successful, but they push him as a heel the whole time, and literally like the third time he's on TV, like he's getting massive pops because you put this guy in front of a work rate crowds and he's doing cool shit, and then they're like shocked that he's getting pops.
and he had a cool look. Like, there was nobody that really looked like him.
And he, and like he
moved
had
like
the
him.
mist, and like that was so cool when they did like that cage of death thing, and he misted out the paper that caught
Fire.
on fire.
The fire, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even like just the way he like, I love Muda. I mean, he obviously has his downturns, but like he's so unique. Even like the way he moves, like his economy of movement, like how graceful he is. I still think he has the best moonsault. Like just how fluid like his movement is. Even the way like the snap he has on like his handspring elbow. Like I don't think anyone's ever replicated quite the same.
The way that he does that, the way he would snap his moonsault. Because I'm used to when someone does a moonsault, they like get some arc to it. But to watch Great Muda do it, it's just like boom, and I'm just like, jeez, no wonder your knees hurt, dude. It's like you thought about maybe doing a little floaty bit there and landing on your chest instead or something, but no, he snapped that sucker off. So
He has a great setup for it too, like the backbreaker. That's more of a rib breaker, I think. But
yeah,
yeah, also I think he's a great case study too, and because people would always ask like, well, why did Muda last so much longer than Kabashi did? It's like because Muda was smart, and like as his body started to fail, he adapted his style to preserve his body.
yeah, he made a change, and like, don't get me wrong, out of all of the from what I have seen, so I'll put that caveat on it, but from all of the stuff I've seen, Kenta Kobashi seems to be the one that resonates most with me. Now that might change if I see more, but that's at least where it is right now.
For me, it was probably Kawada, even though I do
Yeah.
love Kobashi. Brad, to your point though, I think between the two, Kobashi probably got the last laugh off of Muto, because like every picture I see of Muto now, like he's either sitting down or he's like in a wheelchair. So I think his knees are really, even though he's had them replaced, I think his knees are really, really shot.
I think
whereas
his hips
Kobashi
I think his
can
hips are
still,
bad too.
maybe it's the hips, maybe the knees are okay, it's the hips are bad. But Kobashi, every time I see him, he's walking around, and he's had major health stuff. He's had cancer before. Yeah, his knees have been messed up. Like, and he seems like he's doing actually pretty well. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, because what happened with Kabashi Shad is he got cancer, and then like for some reason when he came back from the cancer, he was shot, like absolutely just shot as a worker.
Well, he had such a strong and physical style that being away that long and being separated from it, you're gonna lose a bit. And
he actually,
did he lose muscle mass as part of it, or
maybe he's still pretty
was it
big
kind
though,
of like
because
you couldn't really tell the difference?
Well, I saw
He's a
when
big guy.
he had clothes on, but he didn't. He was still pretty big when they did that match last year where Minoru Suzuki was on the train and like Kabashi like was on the train and started chopping him. Like he was still pretty big for that.
Yeah, he's broad-shouldered and he's barrel-chested and all that sort of, like, he's just naturally going to be a big dude.
Yeah.
But I guess I should phrase it this way. If he lost strength as part of it, because as I remember, he did a lot of strong dude stuff. If he lost strength out of it, then, it's shaking his confidence, and he's like,
it was more
your
of
confidence is shot. You can't do what you always did. That's going to get in your head real bad.
It was more, I think he couldn't call a good match anymore. So I don't know what happened there. But so we're gonna go, and so that's kind of the backstory. And I will say, like, I think the one thing they do, if you don't know like the backstory, that they do a really good job of in this is they really sell not liking each other in this match.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
this went beyond what it looked like to, like, we're working stiff to, like, oh, all right, it didn't it you get to a point where I'm not gonna say it's uncomfortable to watch, but it's kind of like, whew, that sucker's laid in there.
Well,
Oh yeah.
so there's elements I
I
like about this match. So one thing I do like to start with is I like that Fuchi is unapologetically old, and then in that I mean his offense is still effective, but he has a very antiquated offense. I don't, and I wish some old guys would kind of do that now, where they don't necessarily pick up the new stuff, but they kind of keep that oldie style because like in this, it's Fuchi's kind of like, well, I can't go toe to toe with you guys, so I'm gonna be like smarter. But the other thing I really like that it's very subtle, and you have like I think you'd have to notice on rewatch, but they don't really try to pin each other. They're trying to make the other guys tap out. It's a pride thing.
yes. Yeah.
What
There's
were you
not
gonna
a
say,
lot of
Matt,
actually. Well, I was
at the
gonna
beginning?
say. What was I gonna say? I think I lost my train of thought. We were talking about right
Okay,
before we
fair enough.
started talking about the match
Them not liking each
or
other.
getting into.
Them selling that they didn't
Yeah.
like each other and the hatred and the bubble.
Yeah, no, I lost it. But yeah, they didn't
Fair
they
enough.
came off like they did not like each other. Like it was a quick grudge match that it's like there's no like super long backstory for grudge match, but they came off it's not liking each other. And at the beginning of the match, there's like stages to this match. It's partly why I love it. It's like it goes through different levels. And there's actually
Hmm.
multiple layers, and each guy gives a great performance in their own way. And to me, again, this is what makes you have to, if you really watch wrestling, if you've watched it long enough, you appreciate it because people act like sometimes like, oh, unless it's a promo or a backstage skit, that it's not a story. It's like no, or you want to stop and do a monologue during a match. It's
Yeah.
like no, no,
Or
no.
do your entrance
The
again.
the community theater
Uh,
is not a storytelling. The
no.
storytelling is in the ring, and each guy can actually give a performance. In a tag match, four people, each person can actually individually be telling a story and playing a different character, and that's so to me like it was so on point with this.
Yeah.
They start the match off with just like Fuchi and Iizuka kind of feeling each other out, and like you said, Fuchi's offense is like it's antiquated. He's like an old man. It's still effective. He's still good. He has like the veteran, but kind of feeling each other out. And it first starts to pick up when both Kawada and Nagata are in there because they just start beating the shit out of each other. They
Yeah.
just start taking each other.
I really like the visual. This is way later in the match, but because I don't think it had AC or something, but when they just start slapping the shit out of each other and the sweat is just coming off their body when they're doing it, that looks so
Where
cool.
where they're backlit, like the
Mhm.
one of the lights is positioned behind them, and so you can, whenever they slap each other, you see the spray, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you ain't working that at all. And that
Mhm.
whole sequence is not, we're showing fighting spirit or anything. That is just, I'm going to bitch slap you because I hate your guts, and I'm
Mhm.
going to bitch slap you. And then the
Mhm.
other guy, I'm going to bitch slap you. And so it's, to call it a slap fight is technically correct, but not the best kind of correct because it misses the point.
Mhm.
But that sequence is just really
Yeah.
intense and looks great.
And like the like little there's like little things they do like when, Kawada will get Nagata down, he just starts kicking him in the face like close up.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mm.
they lay their stuff in a little extra hard.
I know.
If I
I
was,
know what I was.
go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead, Chad. Chad.
No, 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 no. You go.
I was gonna say. I remember what I was gonna say is that when I watched this, I've seen this before, but I loved it, and I watched it last night. My wife was asking me like today. She's asking me like, "Well, what'd you watch?" And I'm like, "Well, I watched this match I love." And she's like, well, "What's so special about it?" And I had to give her a very, very abbreviated version because it's like I went through like a 30-minute backstory of why this match is so important. But I was like, well, these people don't like each other, and there's a thing where, and she gets this reference. I'm like, well, they started to blur the lines, and she's like, oh, because we went to an indie show years ago at this point, and she watched it, and guys started working a little stiff and snug, and she's like, I think it's real. I don't think it's like fake anymore. I'm like, yeah, they started blurring the lines. So that's what happened. They looked like they started blurring the lines. It's like, that was maybe a stiff kick, Mr. Kawada. Like,
Actually,
There's
I think
you
you
know,
may have really hurt his face with that.
sometimes Kawada can make me a little uncomfortable for how stiff he can get. In this match, I was like, he was working snug, but I'm like, this is pretty restrained for him. Like, I don't like, he didn't make me uncomfortable, and he can sometimes, because I was like, oh, his kicks aren't like.
Oh, I get it. Because there were some of these, I'm like, I'm glad you wear kick pads there, dude.
Yeah.
There, what was the line the thing that I like to that I remember about blurring the lines was I don't remember if it was Sean Oliver or not, but someone was doing an interview with RBD, and they were like, okay, well, what was it like working with Bubba? And he was like, oh, we hated each other. They'd be out there having a match, and one of them would stiff the other, and the guy would go receipt and just punch him, and the other guy would go receipt, and they just stand there and say receipt and hit each other until they got on with the rest of the match. And I'm like, that's, yeah, that sounds correct.
I still love the Big
But
E
blurring the lines
destroying
makes for a better
Bubba.
single line for it. Oh, well, yeah.
But the other thing
we can't all be Big E and then make Bubba Dudley into like a diving board whenever he jumps on him.
The other thing I like too is I like kind of the devolving of Fuchi as the match goes on, and he realizes he can't hang physically, so he just turns into a cheating motherfucker and like starts choking out Iizuka whenever he can.
And that begins in like the next part of the segment. So you have Kawada and Nagata face each other, and then Fuchi and Iizuka comes back in, and at that point, that's when Fuchi just flips the switch and just turns into old man Dick heel, because he at one point, soon after they get back in, he gets like Iizuka in the ropes, and he's like draped over the ropes, and he just crawls up the ropes and like steps on Iizuka and puts his like face, like Iizuka's like draped back, so he's like kind of like hanging over, and Fuchi just climbs up and he's like standing, he's like John to the crowd and puts his foot down, and he's like pressing down on like Iizuka's chin and throat, and it's such a dick move. And at that point is when you actually feel the shift in the match, because at that point it seems that Kawada and Fuchi basically just like threw up their hands and went, fuck it, I guess we're the heels in this, and they start acting according to that. They just are like, guess the Band-Aid's ripped off, we're dicks now, and they just start getting even worse. Fuchi again just becomes like this the cheating dick heel, old man veteran who that's part of his story, that he can't hang with these guys, but he's smart and wily.
And more
and it's like, I can be a dick and cheat. Yeah, I can cheat, and that's how I can get the advantage on you guys.
It's like what was that? It was that, remember we watched it, this is a long time ago. Remember when we watched that NXT match with William Regal and Chris Hero, and like the whole match was just Regal being like, look, I know you're a dirty motherfucker, but like I invented this game and I am going to school you in like all of this stuff because I am that much better at it than you and more experienced. So that's kind of like what Fuchi's doing here. And then I also like, because this kind of goes into this turns into, we're going to take Kawada's leg home as a trophy. Because they do this long, they both put him in like a submission hold. And I like the Iizuka one because like there's this, he's trying to get to the ropes and he's dragging, and Iizuka will pull him back. And then, but then what I like is then he, which Nagata has a sweet figure for. Someone should steal the reverse figure for it, by the way, because it looks cool. But
it is really cool.
But there's this little detail where they attack that leg repeatedly, but then there's points where they just kick him in the leg. They just kick him right under the knee, like on that bad leg, like just to be assholes.
Yeah. Yeah. And but before they got to that double submission segment, you had Kawada and Nagata when Izuki and Fuchi like get back out again. You have Kawada and Nagata come back in, and that is when things again kick up again because then at that point, again when Kawada and Fuchi's decided like we're heels, like we're just gonna act like that. That's when the heat gets fucking crazy because you hear the crowd just start reacting intensely to everything Kawada. They kicking each other. The crowd just going crazy every time they kick each other. Kawada and Nagata just start beating the shit out of each other.
Is this where they do
Kawada gets
the?
Nagata in the stretch plunge where he's just like cranking back on Nagata for like a bit, and that's
Was that a
before you get like the
stretch
double
plum or was
submission.
that a dragon sleeper? Because I thought the
I think
stretch
it's.
plum had like an arm bar to it. I don't know.
Is this
It's
where
not
I
really
they?
thought that was the
important.
Is
stretch.
this where they both like tried to do like the enziguri that they both blocked that looked cool as shit the way they did it?
That
I
really
think so.
did.
Yeah.
Because the first time he threw that enziguri and he had his hand up and he kind of stumbles away, I'm like, that's odd. And then they do the same thing reversed. I'm like, oh, okay, got it.
And then they did the whole like where they forearm each other, but it wasn't hack at this point, and it was in a different context than they do today. They were literally just. But
No, it's the stretch plum. Yeah, I knew that I had
Okay,
that right. Yeah.
okay.
and
I don't know why. I thought the stretch plum had like an armbar part to it,
but yeah,
but
they just go at it pretty much.
Mm.
yeah, they're wailing on each other. There's oh hell, I wrote it down. Let me look real quick. Um, oh, there was a moment. I'm sorry. This is rewinding a little bit, but there was a moment where Nagata came in and he just started it in on Fuchi, and it looked like Fuchi had this moment like, oh, are leg kicks a thing? It just took him so off guard. He's like, oh, and like you were saying, he's got an older offensive style, and whenever they start laying into him, and then they had this really cool double submission spot where oh god, I can't remember Nagata's partner's name off the top of my head.
Iizuka.
Okay, Iizuka has he has
Kawada.
Kawada in one, and then
He almost had
um,
Kawada in a stump puller.
well, he's got him in something, and then Nagata puts Fuchi in his Nagata lock, and it's like, no, I'm gonna pin you down here and hold on to you to this, so you can't interfere with that. And the ref's like, you got to get out of the ring, and he's like, make me, he might tap out, and I'm like, okay, I'm digging on this. And the one thing I wish had happened was that Fuchi would have sold a little bit more after that because it looked like Nagata. There was like a couple of minutes after that where it was like Nagata broke something in him, like he's limping and he's just doing cheap shots and stuff, and I was like, I'm okay. And then he kind of ended up, shrugging that off and going back to the other healing he'd been doing. But I was like, God, I really liked that little segment.
There was I like that segment though where Kawada's he's trying to get to the ropes and Izuka actually like instead of just being like the oh no he's getting to the ropes, Izuka will just be like no motherfucker, like I'm pulling you.
Drags him back. Yeah.
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 I will say to your talk about Fuchi selling towards the end there. I don't know if it was maybe after the Nagata lock. I thought it was, but he does like at one point like come in and he kind of just like he's like hobbling, and again that's part of the masterful storytelling there. Like the story with Fuchi is that he's older,
And he hasn't
and he
wrestled
he
this
can't
kind
hang as
of
well.
he hasn't wrestled like
Yes.
this in like a decade. Like he hasn't gone this
Yeah,
long.
but
He's been in
yeah,
six mans working with lower card guys, and now he's in this
with
extended
world
just
class guys. Yeah.
bomb
Yeah.
fest that like
Mm-hmm.
And but he rises to his occasion the best that he can. He compensates for shortcomings due to his age by just using his experience and just being a dick,
Klein and scraping
and
his
does yeah and does get the better of Izuka like quite often. But towards the end, like he's like almost like hobbling, and that's his part of his storytelling, is that as the match goes on, and the more punishment he takes, the more he's having to fight this match that he's not used to, because it's been years since he's done this sort of thing. His body progressively is breaking down and down. So by the end, like, he's still fighting, like he's still mustering the fighting spirit, but it's harder and harder, and he's like limping, and he's just like,
And
you know,
he's
getting
just
to become
pretty
broken
much
old man.
cheating at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And meanwhile, Nagata and Kawada are just like still just down to trade bombs with each other, just beat the piss out of each other.
I also liked so.
There,
Oh, go ahead, Chad.
there were two halves to this match. There was Nagata and Kawada, who were just laying into each other, and then there's the other two doing something over there.
Yeah,
And it's like, wow, this is a very different, very separate kind of thing.
Well, so then Fuchi and Kawada do the double submission too, but I like that they went like more heelish and they went with chokeholds. But then there's also a spot I liked because, again, it shows kind of like the desperation where Nagata starts getting Kawada in an armbar, but he's too close to the ropes, and like they're struggling over that for a second, and then he does this whole. Then he gets Kawada in his reverse figure 4. Then that turns into a lot of kicking him in the leg. A lot.
Yeah. A lot.
And then so it ends in a draw. And Kawada's very visibly aggravated that they did not put it away. And I just think this was honestly, like, for a half-hour match, it flew. When it was over, I'm like, oh, how long was that? I'm like, holy shit, that was a half hour.
Yeah. And I think that the time limit draw was like the right call, because it's just for this, which was basically like a war of attrition and just hatred. Like it needed to go a draw where it's not, you don't get a resolution. It's just these dudes just could have kept throwing bombs.
And they worked it in a way that made you left you wanting more too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was absolutely a case where going to the time limit draw was the right thing to sell the utter animosity that they had going.
You know, actually thinking about it right now, you know what it really reminds me of in the same way they use the time limit draw was Danielson and Omega. The way they kind of left you wanting more and left you with no resolution. Like they used it in a very similar way.
Yeah, that at the time I looked at the ending on that as such a tease, but I mean it was a good hook for anything in the future.
I wonder if Tony was aping this for that match ending.
You know, as much stuff as Tony has watched, and as much as he loves this stuff, I couldn't rule that out in the slightest. Tony Khan could very much be like, oh, dude, let's do this thing.
Yeah. I could see that. This was a very good match, though. I think Meltzer gave this 5 stars.
So your mileage may vary, but I personally, this is a 5-star match to me.
Yeah, I would.
Other people may not.
I would give it 5.
I mean, it's not an unpopular opinion. There are a lot of people who agree with Dave. Like, this is a very popular match. I like, it's a 5-star match to me. I think that is probably influenced because of all the backstory that I went into, because that I think is very important to it, because the story isn't as impactful unless you know, like, that's why it's going on. Like, you could see, like, if you showed a random person, it's like one of the Hangman Swerve matches, you'd be like, let's watch this. And especially like the more violent ones, you watch, they'd be like, they might think, whoa, this is intense, it's really good, but they may not get the full backstory of why do these dudes have an issue with each other. There's enough there that you could be like, well, they clearly don't like each other. You know, like,
well, yeah,
but you don't get everything as to what led to that. If you have all that context, then it actually enhances it. It makes it more. So knowing the backstory, I think, definitely makes it a 5-star match to me.
I think,
but it's a great match regardless. I don't think you could be like, well, it's okay. It's like, it's a great match. Whether you give it 5 stars or not, it's.
I think this is a good match. I suppose this is a good match to dunk on people that like refuse to watch like Lucha or Japan because of the like, oh, it's not in English, I won't get it. Like, no, you don't like, there is nothing. there's nothing about this match that you need to understand the language, because like they're doing like it's a universal concept of body language that you understand. Like you understand they don't like each other. You can see that Fuchi's old. You can see that Fuchi's out of his depth. The like like the backstory helps a lot of stuff, but if you're just watching this cold, like you don't need to speak Japanese to understand it. Like it totally communicates everything you need.
So
Even a even Iizuka is like good in this. He almost plays like the young boy like facing peril most of the match.
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say I would have liked to have English commentary for this, but it is not necessary. Um, but for me, commentary just it feels like it plays such a big role. But that's just a personal preference thing.
Yeah. I get that's a preference, but like I think there's a difference between saying like, yeah, I would have rather had commentary because it would have helped me out, versus someone be like, oh, I don't want to watch it because it's not in English. That's what you see a lot
Right.
online. It's like, well,
Well, it's like, oh, the big bad scary foreign language is coming for you, you whiny baby. It's like,
Yeah.
no. Look, okay. What's the quote? In Canada, it's a pastime. In Mexico, it's a tradition. In Japan, it's a sport. And in America, it's a joke. Is that the when it comes to wrestling? Did I get that right?
probably, yeah.
It's like the even with that being the case, there is stuff that is evergreen everywhere you do wrestling. Um, that just works. And I'm pulling from another podcast to do this, but not for very long. Um, the flagship, one of the guys mentioned that he had watched this company go do a tour in India, and they're just doing like basic baby's first healing stuff, and it worked like crazy. You know why? Because it works. And wrestling is different everywhere, but there's a lot of the same underpinnings that go into it everywhere. And so being like, oh, I don't understand, like, it's like, don't let that stop you. You may not prefer it, but don't let it stop you, because you could imagine how good it is if you get it without the commentary being in your native language.
Yeah. Like when we watched Suzume and Mayu, there was English commentary for that, and it did help the match.
Mm-hmm.
But if you didn't have that, like Mayu's body language told you she was a heel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I hate that argument, because like I said, you don't need it, and if you watch like enough of it, you get the story. Like there was someone like on Reddit in the Stardom sub that was like, well, like what are they saying in these promos? And people were like, well, yeah, it's not subtitled currently, but just look at the context of the situation and you'll know what they're talking about. Like, cause I've had people ask me before, like, what was that promo about? Like, well, okay, so see, that person has a belt and she's talking to her, so she's challenging her for the belt. Like there's not a lot of, or like it could be as simple as like, well, she's mad she lost, so she wants one of them to face
Yeah.
her on the next show. Like you don't need to understand what they're saying to, I mean, context and like watching the match helps a lot with that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, great match. Like I said, it would not be my greatest tag match of all time, but this would be on like the list of considerations or like notable
Sure.
tags.
I can
Yeah,
understand why.
it's a favorite match of mine. I don't know that I'd even if I've said how much I love it and I consider it 5 stars. I don't know if it's my favorite tag match of all time, but it's up there. It's on the short list probably a tag match.
That's a
of all
tough
time.
one, because
Probably
like
my top 10.
there's the dog collar match. There's like I said, the Canadian Chris's versus Austin and Triple H. There's there's all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah.
That
well,
there's some fantastic stuff we've seen that I've liked a lot.
there are, and they're more recent, but there are 2 tag matches I really love that I have used to hook people into getting into wrestling, and it was Buck's Lucha Brothers cage and FTR Briscoe's dog collar. and those were enough to set the hook. So we can get into that topic another time.
Oh, best friend. I mean, it's not a true tag, but it is like a tag of sorts. But best friends versus Ortiz and Santana in the back lot brawl.
Parking lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But so that is our match of the week. This has been an experiment. I've actually liked the match a week thing because it's kind of kept us watching footage, but we can do like some lower commitment stuff and still get like a match in there. So I've enjoyed it. And next week, I should have put it in for this week, but I did find that Randy Savage, Rick Steiner disaster match from Japan.
Oh God.
So that might have to
Lord.
be in one of the matches because it's real bad, and it would be funny to put like a real bad match in there one week. But okay, so we're so this is a topic I think that Shad's gonna really shine at this week. So this is our favorite like botches and bloopers, because there is a lot of them, and botchamania has been a thing for a long time, and we just saw. I decided to do this because there is like a clip of Matthew Justice doing a balcony dive and totally missing the table.
That was so bad.
It was a real bad miss.
That was so stupid. It was stupid. Yeah. There's 2 tables down there. The dude's laying on the far one, and he doesn't make it to the far one. He hits the near one and just crashes right through it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Maybe we need to reconsider New Jack's quality as a worker that he never missed these.
Supposedly, he tried to miss them in a couple of cases. But, okay, I'm going to start off light with a lighthearted one. And this was in the era where, well, I don't remember if this was pre-AEW or in the era where we were kind of watching both. But like I said, this is a lighthearted one. No one got hurt except for somebody's pride. But the redeeming thing, I'm going to say the one redeeming thing out of the first WWE Saudi event.
Oh, yeah.
Where Titus O'Neil is coming down to get into the quote-unquote greatest battle royal, trips at the bottom of the ramp, and slides into the shadow realm under the ring.
You know what I liked about that is, I don't know, I think Vince must have found it funny, but the fact that they like had enough to change up the production and they just kept showing it over and over again and laughing about it. Because I think in like the Triple H era, they would have just been like, no, ignore it. There's no fun to be had.
Supposedly, yeah, that Vince thought it was really funny, so they kept replaying it. But not every botch has to be some horrible, awful thing. And there's some of them that, the ones where people got grievously injured. It's like, okay, those aren't fun to talk about.
Yeah.
So I don't want to bring those into it.
There's actually a funny AJ one, and this shows like why he's such a good worker. So when he did King of Trios one year, and he was teaming with the Bucks, and he went to do his like springboard like clothesline thing, and he totally fucked it up. He totally fell on his face and did it. So he did that once. But then they turned it into a whole thing where, like, so for the rest of the tournament, all weekend, he would go for it and something bad would happen to him every time until they got to the final and he did it right and he got, like, a massive pop. But, like, every time, like, someone would interfere with it, he'd slip. Like, it was a great, like, oh, I'm okay, well, that was embarrassing. I'll just do this all weekend and have fun with it.
Yeah, you just own it and then you steer into the skid and make something out of it. And that goes a long, long way. Okay. Other fun botches. I mean, the classic one. If you want to say what's the most classic of botches, is going to shock the world.
Oh yeah.
Because it is the Shock Master.
I do show that to people.
Say that one is mine.
I do show that one to people.
I'm sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
The fact that
Go ahead.
Uses
Go on with it.
He's falling his fucking ass.
Oh, that part is good.
Davey Boy's just losing it back there.
Yeah.
Sting's got his back to the camera so people don't see him laughing. And Sid never breaks.
But like, so that one, I'm not sure. I think I've had it explained before. So what happened is, I think he came through the wrong section, because what happened is there was a board on the bottom of it, and you can tell this is what happens. And he falls over the board trying to break through the wall.
That's what Dusty claimed. Dusty claimed that when they rebuilt it, someone put a board there to screw with him. But I'm like, that's...
I wonder if he came through the wrong section.
Well, there wasn't that much to it.
No.
Maybe it was supposed to... Well, maybe he was supposed to like step higher and use the kick as part of his Kool-Aid Man entrance. But I don't know, man. It's hard to tell with that.
I just don't know what they were thinking with any of it. Even if it came out perfectly, it's like
he had a spark.
It's still a dude in a glitter stormtrooper helmet.
I know.
Yeah.
And a voice modulator.
Yeah.
That wasn't even Fred Ott doing it. That was Ole on the microphone with a modulator backstage. Yeah, which is why his gestures don't line up with the thing very well. Yeah. He's like doing this, and then he's come at me, Sid, and you're like, oh yeah, right. And I'm like, there's nothing good that's going to come out of this.
You know what I don't get about that? Why wouldn't you record it like beforehand so he at least knows like what's going to be said?
That is a good point. I don't know, but
okay, I do have to. This one does involve someone getting hurt, but it's still hilarious. But was it a Rumble? The one, so Vince comes out and he's gonna restart this match, and he tears both of his quads, and he's sitting on his butt in the ring, and he can't get up, but he's still trying to like do the.
He's still trying to Vince.
And he's still trying to like he's you have to give it to him that he did not break character, and he totally like tore both of his quads.
Yeah, when it came out afterwards that he broke his quads, like it's like in one respect he was a horrible human being, but I mean in one respect it's like, oh, okay, like props to you because you weren't like writhing in pain, you're just sitting there like you look like angry or frustrated.
Like an angry baby.
And it's like, yeah, just sitting there, it's like. And it was like, why are you just sitting there? Like, where it's weird. But at the same time, you tore both your quads. Like, you should be in like a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So
the fun thing, the other fun wrinkle about that particular instance is that botch was caused by another botch, because that was a Rumble where it was the ending on it was Batista Cena. And Batista accidentally goes over, like, he screws up the finish. And what happens is Batista and Cena go over at the same time and hit the floor at the same time. Which apparently was not supposed to be what happened. But then, so then that botch leads to Vince coming out and having that botch. And it's this interesting, like, 1-2 botch punch.
Why would you ever depend on Batista to be able to control like going over the top rope? Like that is the last person. Like you said, Cena messed it up. I'm like, okay, I would trust Cena to do that, but like Batista, it's like no.
I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you, but there it is. So
that's
you get botch lead to botch.
I need to watch it again because I don't even remember what happened that Vince... Because Vince didn't like... Nothing weird happened that made Vince tear both of them. It was kind of like really fluky.
So what happens is when he slid into the ring, he didn't have his legs up high enough, so his knees both hit the edge of the mat as he's sliding in.
Oh, ow.
Now, I can't guarantee that... Well, I mean, that's it. That's sure what it looks like to me. He goes to slide in the ring. He stops right when his knees are about at the edge of the mat. And then, here he is. He can't get up. Now, some eagle-eyed person is going to look at it and be like, "No, you had that wrong." Okay, that's what I remember for it, because I remember sitting there watching it, replaying it, being like, "What? Where did that? Where?" And that was the only place I could figure it happened.
That would make sense.
Yeah, hitting right above both of your kneecaps on the edge of the thing as you slide in the ring,
And your body keeps going and your legs don't. Yeah, that would do it.
and this was in Vince's like really juiced up era. So
You know what's weird though is, so he was obviously gone for a while after that, but that incident is where he started looking old. After he did that, like he aged real quick. And that's like when he started looking like old man Vince.
it broke his aura, because I think he came back with a motorized wheelchair.
That would make sense.
He's riding around in a motorized wheelchair trying to Vince McMahon his way around. Here, because I got a list. Here's one that is just so absurd, and it was terrible. Halloween Havoc, Hollywood Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior, when Hogan screwed up the fireball he was supposed to throw, and blew it up in his own face.
I forgot about that.
I don't remember that. I think I was probably blocking the Warrior WCW run.
Well, this
out of my
is
brain.
Bad.
Protect my sanity.
That was also the same pay-per-view where they fucked up with the pay-per-view provider, and I saw it. I actually saw it night of, because I had Dish Network at the time, so I went to an alternate station so I could watch the Goldberg DDP match. But what happened is, people on cable, that show just turned off, and they didn't get the main event.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I maintain that should have been the streak ender, and that would not have harmed Goldberg.
No, I tend to agree.
Because, yeah, Page winning with the Diamond Cutter then and there, with as much as that that move had been built up,
I actually
would have
think
made perfect sense.
I actually think they overthought that, and they should have just kept having him win until like the crowd started to dwindle, and that's where they screwed up. Because they thought they needed to beat him. It's like, no, he probably could have gone another 6 months and you could have made money. You overthought it.
Well, no, Nash wanted to do it.
Well, yeah, and he also ruined the Wrath one, so they could have gotten like a Wrath Goldberg.
Yeah. Oh,
deal.
I hated that so much. I hated that. All right, guys, what about you? What's the others to throw in?
Do you have one, Matt?
Not off the top of my head.
I stole your
drawing a
spot,
blank
didn't
on
I?
purpose. Yeah.
There's
okay.
This is a long dead promotion called NWA Cyberspace, but they had Luger working with them, and he did this promo, and he went to take his shirt off, and he got his head stuck in the shirt, and he couldn't get the shirt off. I sent you a clip.
Was that the I don't know promo?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And there's also the Sid Flub line where you know what he was saying, but he's like, I only have half the braids you do, or whatever.
I'm twice the man you are, and I have half the brain you do.
Yeah. Which I understand what he was trying to say, but yeah.
Well, and Sid was great because he had another one where he's cutting a thing and he stops and goes, "Can we start over?" And JR goes, "We're live, pal." It's like, oh, whoo, whoops. Okay, here, I got one for. Oh, go ahead, man.
Well, I was gonna say, if we're talking like bloopers, like intentional bloopers, and not ones that even aired, it's like outtakes. Was it Mean Gene Okerlund, like that Kamal used to mess with? Like Kamal, like they'd be cutting promos.
Yeah.
Would just actually start talking, and Joe, like, I don't know any English.
Yeah.
And you just corpsed Mean Gene Okerlund because it's like clearly you're talking in English out of character.
No, that one's funny.
But he'd do it just to.
That one's funny.
To corpse like Gene Okerlund, who like he dude's credit like he.
That one's funny because he's like, no, I don't speak any English, Mean Gene. And he's like, well, that's funny because like it was written in Swahili by Jim Barnett. Come on. Some of those ones are great. Some of those backstage ones, like the one where they had like some Thanksgiving one, they had this turkey in a cage, and like Iron Sheik like pulls the turkey out and like pretends to spit on it and like almost knocks the cage over. He's trying to do this promo and he has to like save the cage while he's doing it. And then there's one where I think it was a Wendy Richter one. And she said something like, "I'm not gonna lay down for any man," and he just starts cracking up. Oh, this one did make it. This is a good Mean Gene one though. Because it made it on SummerSlam '89, and I did play it. The one where the sign falls, and he's like, "Fuck it!" Like, who did that? Like,
fuck it. Yeah. Yeah. There's a great gorilla Bobby Heenan one from like Prime Time, and it's because like Monsoon actually got Bobby Heenan to break character in Corpse like very briefly, because Bobby's played like he's doing his shtick and everything. And they're talking about like hotel accommodation.
Oh
like
yeah,
I forget
what
the he's like it. And
they have hot and
Bobby
cold
goes
rats.
like, no place is too good for me. And like Monsoon is like, please, I've seen the places you stayed in. Like they have hot and cold running rats. Like and he gets Bobby to break. He's like Bobby like just like breaks his face, his laughs. He goes, haha. Like he masks it, but it's like he killed Monsoon got him. He got him with that one. And it's a heartwarming because if like just the real life between the two of them, they like were good friends, and how broke up like Bobby was when Gorilla died. They were like a great pairing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You heard that from Bobby Heenan's Hall of Fame speech, because I think it ended with the line, "I just wish Monsoon could have been here." And it's like, oh, that's...
Oh, we're missing another classic one he was involved with, but the Booker T, Hulk Hogan, "We're coming for you."
Yeah. I saw
you see Booker's hands come up because he's like,
oh no, I'm
and
fired.
Sherry Martell's like
laughing at him.
Well, he said he was like horrified, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm in so much trouble." He said Hulk Hogan like came up and he thought it was like the funniest thing he'd ever seen, and he felt a little better after that.
Mean Gene covers because he does that, and Mean Gene just pivots over to Stevie Ray super quick.
Well, because Booker T has a good sense of humor, but I was like, well, he's like, like on the street you talk a certain way, and I just got a little too into the.
Yeah.
But I mean, I mean, obviously Hulk Hogan's passed, but I could see him being horrified, and like, I think most like guys would just be like, "Oh, that was funny," like.
Yeah, I saw a meme that someone did one time, and it was like you can't hear an image, and it's like, oh yeah, and then it's like it's just the image of like that of them standing that promo, and if you're a wrestling fan, you understand. It's like, oh boy, like
I can hear that picture.
I actually can hear that picture.
It's like the I'm fired, so fired.
Yeah,
fired, so fired.
So I've got another botch here that you may have forgotten about because I was doing research for this one. WrestleMania 8, Papa Shango is late to the ring. Hulk Hogan has hit the leg drop on Sid. Papa Shango is supposed to be there to break it up, and Sid kicks out because he's not supposed to lose to it. And it's like the only person who ever did. And then here comes Shango running down because he's like, "Oh God, I missed my spot! I missed my spot! I missed my spot!"
That's actually that's a tough spot to be in for Sid because like, oh shit, what do I do?
Yeah, you don't have a lot of choice because you either stay down and that's not the ending of the show that you're going for, or you make the call that he makes. And it's this big thing, but it's like, well, what were we doing? What was the point we were trying to get across?
Yeah.
So,
what was the? This is what I remember briefly. The one where Mark Henry couldn't get the cage door open.
He was supposed to break the chain or the lock or something, and I think he just went for the door instead.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I was thinking about it because the one I remembered was the Kevin Owens Roman Reigns match where they lost the key to the handcuffs. That one was
okay. All right. Okay, here, I'm going to ruin everybody's YouTube algorithm. Are you ready?
Sure.
The story about Enzo Amore giving himself a concussion because he mistimed hitting that bottom rope,
Oh yeah.
and Simon Gotch talking about it. Congratulations. That's going to be in your recommendations for 6 months.
I did see a gif of that because I sent you guys the one of like, it's like I think it's in Japan. Like these midgets are having a match, and he goes to throw this guy, and he like slides across the ring, like half of the ring, on his face, not his forehead, his face.
Yeah. Oh, that. And Enzo had another one that was really, really bad because Claudio, formerly known as Cesaro, goes to pitch him over the top rope, and Enzo screws it up. And so what does Enzo do? Like, he doesn't go over, he lands on his feet, and then just decides to throw himself over the rope. While Claudio looks at him and is like, "You idiot." And just watching that, it's like, wow, that might be the dumbest thing I've seen in a long time.
I did see one of Claudio because I was looking at gifs to just do some remembrance ones. And this is just him screwing around, but he was going to put Swoggle in a Boston Crab. And he's halfway through it and he's grounded. So he's like, "Oh my god, this is so hard!" Like while he's doing it to Swoggle.
All right, here's another one that I don't know if it's a botch, but it to me it was funny enough that you could almost count it as that. It was the 7 Trials of Jericho. MJF is putting Jericho through 7 matches to get a match with MJF for revenge against Nick Gage.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And Nick Gage pulls the pizza cutter, and they go to picture in picture, and the Domino's commercial comes up next to
I
it.
forgot about that.
So, yeah.
Can we put the Bret Hart and British Bulldog SummerSlam match as like a match-long botch of Mr. Hitman? I'm fucked.
Matt, say it.
I'm fucked. Can't do a flat black. Can't do a flat black bump. Can't do it.
That match is remarkable in how because you can tell, like that's the thing. Like you might think like, oh, you know, that's an exaggeration. Like, no, go watch the match. Like, it's literally like
it when you watch it, knowing the backstory, you can see all the ways that Bret literally does carry him, and it's obvious at points. And the scary thing is that it's still a good match. Like we reviewed it on the show. I probably would give it still like
fine.
at least 3 stars. Probably
I give it like
match.
3.5, 3 3/4, I think.
Yeah,
I don't remember if I went that high on it.
It's good, but Bret could have healed it more. That was my big issue with it.
Yeah, if you've never heard that, the Laps fan, which is where like the Hitman thing comes from, the joke, you should listen to it because like the segment is hilarious. And they pull out excerpts of Bret's book where he tells the story, and it's them doing it because Jack like does like it's almost like a dramatic where he's reading it, and he's like, Davey told me he couldn't do it because he had spent the summer smoking. He pauses and goes, and you just hear JP Sorrow in the back. He goes, yeah. Mr. Hitman, I've been smoking crack. I'm gonna do it again. I'm smoking crack right now. It's dark. It's dark, but it's still a funny joke. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's not.
Matt and I have our very dark sense of humor, so we would find that funny.
Look, it's making something out of a bad situation. So, all right, here.
Now it you know what? I don't. It always comes up, but I think it was intentional. It's not a botch. But the Chris Chetty bump against Sean Waltman on Raw. The one where Sean Waltman kicks him and he does like a bump like straight through the ropes and hits the floor.
Oh no, that was intentional.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But
that was a bump he figured out because it looked great as a jobber, so he could get hired more.
But people always put that in the botch ones. Like, no, that was intentional.
Well,
Yeah.
that was a spot that was like Chris Hamrick's like call to fame.
Oh, it was
Like,
Chris
Yeah.
Hamrick, not
that-
Chris
that-
Cherry. Sorry.
Yeah, it was
Wrong
Chris
one.
Hamrick.
Yeah. He intentionally would do like the bot like that bump through the ropes all the time.
Yeah.
Like so many matches. And it
Yeah.
would look fantastic every time, and like that got it
Mhm.
known.
Yeah, 100%. It looked so good. Not a botch. All right. Don't feel bad picking on this person. Do you remember how AJ Francis got the name Flop Dollar?
Didn't he do the Jey Uso? They both did the same suicide dive like flop, didn't they?
I think I don't remember Jey Uso doing it, but I remember here goes Top Dollar, and he hits the ropes, and here he comes, and he jumps to do it, and he just kind of hits the top rope and goes,
Yeah.
and like just crashes out, and everyone's like, and whenever he gets up, he's still trying to strut like it was a thing, and it's like, oh my god, no.
That was a bad one.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's kind of hard for me to feel bad for him on that because the guy was just so unlikable. But
Do you have the
all right, here's one that's
Do you have the one where like
Go for
Brie came back and they had her doing like Bryan Danielson spots, and like there was like 3 weeks in a row where she botched horribly on TV? Like that's where she concussed poor it was Ruby, I think she concussed.
yeah, because she didn't line the kick up properly.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
No, she got out of rhythm.
Yeah.
I think she got out of rhythm on it, and
Oh, I think she lost her balance and got out of rhythm, and then it was mistimed.
yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
But you
it
shouldn't
happens.
be
But
doing that spot if you can't do it right. But
yeah. But you need to be able to eyeball it and adjust. But here's one that was a that was a he got hurt out of it, but it wasn't he got a concussion, but I don't think it was super serious. But the end of WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle with the
oh yeah.
shooting star diving headbutt,
Yeah.
which that was really that could have been really cool.
He did it really good in OVW.
Yeah, that's what got me is I remember seeing video of him do it, and it was kind of like Great Muta's moonsault. He got so much speed and rotation going forward, and then he does it here, and he's going high. I'm like, okay, it's Mania, you're going, but he doesn't rotate properly.
Steiner,
And I'm like, oh,
there's videos of Steiner doing that when he was real young, because they asked him about it on a shoot, because they were asking if he did it first, or I think if Too Cold Scorpio did it first, like the 450 thing, and he's like, well, like I think you should give the credit to Too Cold because he's the first one that did it without like screwing it up.
but Jushin Liger innovated that one.
Maybe he did the shooting star press was a Jushin Liger one. I don't know if he ever did a 450.
Okay, I was thinking of the shooting star press.
Oh, and there's
you could have lots of botches with Billy Kidman doing a shooting star
oh
press.
yeah, that was always a
that was always dodgy.
There was one we talked about in the chat before this, but it was the golf cart at Mania.
Hardcore title match: Raven versus Kane versus Big Show, and there's this thing they do with a golf cart, and Raven's picking up to just take off in the golf cart because he's the reigning hardcore champion and he's wanting to retain, and he screws it up and he kind of goes into this thing here and they can't get it moved. the story that Raven tells, and at this point, Raven doesn't really have anything to gain by lying about it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that a pro wrestler
I
wouldn't.
don't. Raven's never
Uh,
really lied much in his.
yeah, that's why I give him some leeway. But apparently, he just about ran over the primary power main for the building, and if he had gone a little bit further forward, he would have torched the electricity for an entire WrestleMania.
Oh wow.
It's like, well, yeah, that's
There's a great shoot
yeah.
with him and who's he with? They're going through like the internet sleaze thread. Who's he with though?
It's Raven and Honky Tonk.
And he's like, because they do
Uh,
the glass table, and he's like, I don't think Ricky Morton would have left. That's what his response to that was. No, but it's funny. They're just going through. He's like, oh yeah, that probably happened. Like, oh, he'd totally do that. That was like, no, Ricky Morton wouldn't have left. I still love that.
That was Raven's line.
Ricky Morton claims he left. So, because remember, RJ. No, remember RJ was like, "What do you guys think about glass tables?" Ricky Morton's like, "I'd run."
And he said that, and they sat there for a second, and they're like, "Man, I don't." And then I don't remember which one got it, but suddenly one of them got it, and they're like, "Oh, you bastard!"
No,
and I laughed so hard I fell out of my chair.
Well, Robert Gibson said something, but like you can't understand a damn thing he says half the time. So
Yeah. But yeah, Billy Kidman had a real. He had cases where he would do a shooting star press, but he wouldn't actually move forward, so he'd just crash and burn on the turnbuckle, or he'd land badly on people.
all right, he landed on the rope a couple times too.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, there at the end, AJ Styles had been doing the shooting star press when he got hired into WCW with Air Paris. With yeah, it was Air Paris, right?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah, because they were
And
the airmen.
Air Raid.
Air Raid, yeah.
Something like that.
No,
yeah.
Something like that.
So it was a cool gimmick. But Billy Kidman ran around backstage telling everybody he was AJ Styles because he was stealing his shooting star press. So AJ developed the spiral tap so that he had a move Billy Kidman couldn't do.
The spiral tap's better moving. Spiral tap's a better move in my opinion.
It's impressive. It's really, really the rotation and the spin and all of that. Okay, I just got a couple more that we won't dwell on for too long, but I remember I was watching this one live. It was like WWF St. Valentine's Day Massacre or something. Ken Shamrock versus Val Venus, I think. And Ken's quote unquote sister was managing Val, or she was at ringside, and she did something to help Val, and Ken rolls out. He goes, "What are you doing? Blood's thicker than water." They're right in front of the camera, and he goes, "Slap me." In like normal Carrie voice. And I'm like, oh.
Hey, he was just mentoring.
I remember that botch, yeah.
He was just mentoring John Cena.
Yeah, it's so apparently Cena's really bad for calling his spots big.
There's also the Rico, like, God damn it, Jeff, get over here.
or where the hell is Vicky that Eddie did that one time? God. And I'm sure we could come up with lots of Jeff Hardy ones, but that'd be.
Wasn't there an AEW one like easy. That?
Like
an audio spot call, like, that was messed up.
Probably. Well, I mean, if you want an AEW botch, when the pyrotechnic guy decided to change the end on the exploding barbed wire match.
Yeah, that was the promising and exploding ring that didn't explode.
Yeah, and the story that I remember was that they had it all set up and it was good to go, and the pyro guy went back and changed it because he was like, this will be too dangerous. It's like, dude,
That yeah.
no, that's really bad. Um,
Yeah, that one popped right in my head.
yeah, that was really. I'm trying to think. I'm looking real quick to make sure there aren't any others. Obvious ones I'm missing, but we've gone through plenty. I don't like the ones where people get seriously hurt.
No, those aren't fun.
Obviously, because I don't. They're not fun, and bad things just happen sometimes in any physical thing. It happens in whatever physical sport. People get hurt bad, and it's not funny in any of the others.
Yeah.
And so I don't really want to consider it funny in this. So
There's
it's
there's a cornet one, and he was talking about they were doing a show. And I don't remember if it was Bobby Eaton or Robert Gibson, but they said like the stage was real weird. Oh, this happened to Bret Hart in AEW. But they're like, yeah, it was really dark and the stage was weird. He's like, it was either Bobby Eaton or Robert Gibson. Like, yeah, they were there 1 minute and then they were gone the next because they fell off the stage.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, there's another good Jim Cornette one where he was in World Class. I don't know if this counts as a botch, but like they were doing stuff outside the ring and the crowd is getting really unruly. And he's like, yeah, this like, I look over, this old lady goes to grab a chair and, she goes to lift it up to hit me and she falls over because she's an old lady. And it's like, yeah, so, so obviously everyone thinks I did it because I'm in close proximity to this old woman that walks over. And he's like,
Yeah.
it goes real ugly. And like, so actually it was really smart advice, which I don't know if they tell you to do that in wrestling schools. Like, yeah, so we just scrambled into the middle of the ring because at least you can kind of defend yourself there.
Yeah, the middle of the ring is honestly it's the safest place to be because there's the least opportunity for you to get tangled in something. You line up, you head to the
and you have to deal with people not used to getting into a ring that you can then take advantage of.
Yeah.
Or forgetting the Jackie Gata. Forgetting to.
Oh God. Oh, that match.
That was real bad.
Oh, it's so bad. Oh my God, that's so bad.
There was some Cora Jade one I saw, and I was just like, of course she screwed this up.
Well, I mean, yeah, we could roll into some some NXT stuff.
There's a lot of NXT women's ones from the last couple years. But that's honestly,
let's just keep hitting the ropes, keep hitting the ropes, keep hitting the ropes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But that's like that's a problem of they have them doing things they should not be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they really do. Well, that's another topic for another time.
Yeah, I also don't like the ones of people getting hurt because like I don't know, they're just not. It's only funny when someone like doesn't get injured in the process.
Yeah, if you get injured go ahead, Matt.
Shockmaster falling on his ass is funny. Like, not someone's going to be like, oh, you actually got hurt. You're going to be on the shelf for like a few months.
Yeah. Yeah. Or worse.
Like the ones where, they go to climb on the ropes, like to do their intro and one guy loses his balance and like falls over the side. Like that stuff's funny, but not like the ones where they get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't like talking about those, and I don't like glorifying them or anything. So,
but I think that's it for this week. But like I said, great tag match. A lot of fun. I don't know if I'll pull the trigger on the bad match for next week. Maybe I'll say, maybe I'll save that up, and the week of April Fools we'll do a bad match show.
Okay. Let's not do the Jackie Gata match because, oh God, that one makes me so mad. Or maybe you will pick that one because it makes me so
I
mad.
don't.
I can't.
That one's really not remarkable. I'd have to think of some good bad ones.
Well, we hit pretty hard already on it like a few years ago on a really bad one, but let's not revisit Blackjack Brawl.
Oh no, I thought you were gonna say Heroes of Wrestling, because Heroes of Wrestling made Blackjack Brawl. Because the thing there was Blackjack Brawl I thought was entertaining because it was entertainingly bad, and Heroes of Wrestling was just god awful. Like if you said
100%.
if you had to watch one of these again, what would you watch? I would say Blackjack Brawl, and it wouldn't even be like a question. Like no, like I'd totally watch Blackjack Brawl again over that.
If it was between the two of them, yeah.
Because Blackjack Brawl had a couple of decent matches. Like Herb Abrams is just like entertaining unintentionally, but he is.
Yeah, there's some competency scattered around Blackjack Brawl, even if it's unremarkable and not particularly interesting. There's, as opposed to Heroes of Wrestling just being
irredeemably
God.
bad. Like you could hear Dutch Mantel's like soul leaving his body during that Bushwhackers versus Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov match.
Yeah,
that was like 10
Dutch
minutes.
For some reason, yeah, Dutch is trying to disassociate the entire time,
and then the main event,
and like astrally project, go somewhere else.
And then the main event that was just terrible.
That like didn't really happen.
Well, remember, like they did that weird thing, and then they turned it into a tag, which we thought was an audible, but it was actually meant to happen like that.
That was supposed to, okay.
Because what happened is, I guess, because I listened to the Lapsed Fan on this, and so I think what happened was, obviously Jake Roberts wasn't supposed to be drunk. But I'm pretty sure Jim Neidhart I'm pretty sure Jim Neidhart showed up that day and refused a job, and that was the issue. So they had to like audible.
Okay.
Because I think we were watching that and they didn't even know who was going to take the job. If you watch back, and because I think we did see that, where like they're trying to figure out what to do, and like no one wanted a job, so Jake was just like, just beat me then. Like, because you see like a point where like Jake puts his arm up, it's like, yeah, just beat me.
Yeah, Jake didn't care.
Yeah. But yeah, I would take Blackjack Brawl over that.
Yeah, you're right.
And the Sid Dr. Death match was kind of almost good.
Yeah. No, they actually they're putting forth an effort, and I think Brad, you theorized like, well, Sid was trying to get a job.
Yeah.
With the big two promotions.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for this week. Thank you everyone for joining us as always. This has been Matt, Shad, and Brad, and we will